Hello, and thank you for tuning into the
Mobility,
Mobility
bro.
Bros. I'm a Coach Cliff, and my brother, of course, and co host Ron will be covering athletic mindset, mobility, pain reduction, the thought process of practitioners, and the mindset of our clients. And today's topic is actually going to be touching those last two topics we just covered, the thought process of practitioners and the mindset of clients. And the way we're going to be talking about this and discussing it is going to be through when you put your intentions in front of your client's intentions during their program design, during some soft tissue work on the table, during um, maybe even something they're going through and they're having a hard time and they just need you to listen and you kind of bulldoze them with the way you train yourself, it can really be off-putting and can turn a positive into a negative. Ron, you want to share a little bit about yourself, what you've experienced, and say hello to the people?
What's good out there, people? I'm Ron Hylton, licensed massage therapist and sports massage therapist as well. I just want to throw out some good news. I got picked up by UConn to work for D1 school. So, yeah,
Congratulations.
so I just want to put that out there. Putting your intentions on others, and I have to say, this is something I've been guilty of when I first started. You know, when someone comes in, they tell you, hey, I need this and this done. And you go, you know what? I think you need more than that. This is what we're going to do today. And this is how we're going to work it. And you need this much time. And when I realized is that that's actually a turnoff.
Yeah.
If you're going to be a true professional in your craft when it comes to athletic performance or being a sports massage, whatever the case may be, you really have to have good ears, right? You really have to listen to what your audience is telling you, what your client is telling you. And it's always good to give advice and make sure they receive that. If they don't really receive that and they just say, hey, listen, I just want you to do this one thing and take 20 minutes to do it, then you'd be like, okay, good. You know what? Let's do that. You know, you can always say, this is what I recommend. This is what I believe you should do for time and sessions. But you know what? I am here to meet you where you are, and it really just comes down to them because at the end of the day, they are paying you for a service.
It's right on. It's so true. I love and I just want to reflect and acknowledge what you said about making sure, even if you feel like there's so much more that you want to do, but they only have a 20-minute window and they're like, this is what I need. That might be the initial conversation. That might be the initial building of rapport, the trust, that factor that you set in. And by stepping away and using your ears, like you said, and really listening, deep listening to what's needed, you can find how many ways you can add value to that person
Absolutely.
outside of just that one injury or that one pain that they're dealing with right now. As a professional, being the practitioners, we know that usually if you're having a pain and we give us enough time, we can find a root cause that may not even be in the same area of the pain that's being felt by the client or the member. And to be like, hey, wait, let me just break this down to you. Although it feels like it's the right thing to do, it could really turn someone off. And oftentimes you don't get a chance to really help that person anyway, because maybe it was ego or you just need to feel
Mhm.
right or whatever it is on both sides that just creates a negative experience, man.
Right, right. And I actually have an example. I have a couple of examples, but one that actually brings to mind is so I have a triathlete that I'm working on right now, and a phenomenal athlete, man. She is a
Mhm.
beast. She's in her early 50s, but she is like nonstop, right?
Yeah, let's
And,
go, AJ
yeah,
Nichols.
let's go, right? So before she started working with me, she saw another therapist who did sports work and a couple of towns over from where I lived, and he would go into doing her go right into her psoas. So I am not a big component of someone deep diving into someone's psoas. There's so many layers of tissue and stuff that you have to go through, and and it can be painful. So I have a different technique that I that I use.
It hurts like a mo. You
Yeah, it
just
hurts
just
like
digging
mo,
their
right?
finger in your groin. You're like,
Yeah, yeah.
ah,
And
get out of
you
here.
can actually, yeah, and it's kind of sad because that's how you were initially taught how to go into a psoas and release a psoas. But you can actually do what's called a Thomas test, hanging off the table, give some active engagement, and you can release them that way. But anyway, so the first session she did, she noticed that she was in pain. She could barely walk, right? And now this is a high level performance. The second time she went, she told the practitioner, said, listen, I cannot do this. It's painful. Every time I leave, the last session we had was really painful. So he didn't listen. She came back for a third session, and then she was like, you know what? He's not listening to anything I'm telling him. I can't do this. It hurts when I'm actually like doing my events. And he didn't come up with any ideas or any way to make me comfortable in that session. And it all worked out because she's seeing me now. So you know what? It's all good, right?
Yeah, exactly. Well, because you're listening and you're understanding what's needed. And it's so important. Like I have senior clients, they're not even athletes. The biggest challenge for them is to get their steps in, to work on their balance and to stretch regularly. And the reason why they love working with me is because I listen to what they have to say. They feel seen, they feel heard, and what they say matters. It's their body. I'm not going to come in and say, oh, I know better than what you do, because you're living through this body. You can have a perfect form and have pain that I can't see and be suffering through pain. And just because your form looks good doesn't mean that your joints are stable or strong or even having old injuries. So 100%, if that lady gave him three chances,
Mm-hmm.
three chances, on the second one expressed herself vividly and he just completely ignored it, I think it's two things. One, he didn't know what else to do. And so he was stuck like, well, I don't know what else to do. This is what I was taught to do. I'm staying in my box.
Mm-hmm.
Or two, he felt his ego was so, it was an ego thing. He felt he was so much more important and was so much more knowledgeable than this person who was expressing this thing, that he would just be able to push her through the pain. And all of a sudden, when it was fixed, he would get praise.
Right, right.
Or three, it was just lazy work.
Yeah.
He heard her. He really did know what to do, but he didn't take the time to do it.
Right. And a good practitioner, when if they have a client that has a concern, and you got to have enough humbleness to say, you know what, I don't actually know what else to do, and express that out loud. Say, listen, this is what I was trained to do, and I know what to do. But however, I will go find a different way, or or put your big boy pants on and say, you know what, I don't know what else to do. I can refer you out to someone else who can give you the best care.
Yep.
Which I have no problem. I have no problem doing. If I need to absolutely do that, I will refer out if I can't. But I consider myself a beast. Like I will, if I don't know what's going on, I listen and I'll go research. I'll go ask questions and I'll come back to the table like, listen, this is what I got. Let's try this.
Yep.
And see if this works, if this is comfortable. And it's all about communication and listening with your ears and giving that right communication is that nice back and forth, that nice smooth feedback you get from your client.
Exactly. I mean, feedback is huge. I praise feedback. I don't feel scared of it. I'm not looking to be praised by my feedback. I'm looking for those really tight stops, those really specific ways to have you say to me, this is what I can improve on. Because every time I get that opportunity to improve, and I do, I step my game up, bro. I'm a beast as well. I believe that I can have people feel things that they could have been training with people for 20, 30 years and never feel, simply because of the way you connect their neurological system with their muscular system.
Absolutely.
You get that revival again. Like, oh, I could feel that. Okay, now do it in this position. I can't feel that anymore. Why? Oh, it's weak. It just feels they're literally reconnecting their neurons, and it's a beautiful thing, so I agree 100%. What are some of the things that would be takeaways for people who may, some people don't realize that they're doing it, right? Some people don't realize that their intentions, because we want to stay on topic, and it is all on topic, their intentions are flooding the client's need. How do you help someone address that? Maybe like what steps would they take to make sure that they're not leading with their own intentions? What have you done in your career?
So I would just go back to like just the listening point, right? So and I think it just I think for some people it just comes through with experience and just asking questions with other practitioners as well. Say, I have this issue, I keep doing this, that client says they don't really like it. what do what is something that you're doing, and just ask a lot of questions. But I also think there's a lot of practitioners, they have the horse blinds on, and they won't listen to anybody else. So those people you really can't. And I'll give you that perfect example I shared with you with that one student that's in my orthopedic class. He expressed how he basically, I swear he almost tackled the person at the beach, it sounded like, but he was like, okay, so and so,
Imagine being at the beach and being like, what?
you're chilling, you in the sun, the shadow comes over you, he goes, we need to work on your glute, and this is what we're gonna do, and this is what's gonna happen. And you're like, okay, well, I'm okay with doing this session, but I just want a half hour. Do we have to do all that other stuff you talked about? So that's just someone who is just like, they're just, tunnel vision. And I even told you, I said, when we were in class, I spoke up. I said, listen, I said, you gotta not lead with your intentions. And it's exactly what I told him. I said, listen to what the client wants. They don't want to do this big assessment. They just want that glute fixed, or whatever you want to, what do you want to do? They just want you to work on that glute. So just take the 5 minutes and listen to what the issue is, work on it. And then, you know what? If you know that client well enough, you know their body, you can always do the stoat notes after. You don't necessarily need them there to do this big questionnaire. So, and if you're a good practitioner, you understand time, and you got to value people's time.
Yeah, exactly. Time is a variable. I mean, just to acknowledge again, always in learning, this guy rolled up on a lady on the beach. She probably had no idea what the hell he was talking about for the first couple of minutes. And he's so adamant about the meeting and what he heard, and he knew he could help. And it probably was out of love, right? Out of care, out of wanting to be in service. We are in a service-based business. So
Absolutely.
I want to be in service as much as I can. So now he's trying to be in service, but this is at the beach. This is not at the gym. This is not at the office. This is not during the appointment conversation. And she still tells him, yo, dude, I want to do your session. I'm still overwhelmed. Can I just get 30 minutes? Meaning, what was that first session like?
Right.
When he had her in the studio and was figuring out all this stuff, and she just came in there for like a release of the piriformis, and he came at her with like, your multifidi, your T3, your
people elbow. That's what we about to do.
Yo, he choke slammed her. It's crazy. It's just it could be extreme and it could be excessive. So in that instance, you wonder, like, how does the client feel? Does the client feel overwhelmed? Is she never going back? Is she turning away fully? Like, how do you feel if you were that client and that happened to you?
Right. And if that was me, I would be like, listen, bro, talk to the elbow because the hand ain't listening. All right?
Over it.
I'm finding someone else because we can't do this,
Yeah. I would have been pissed. I'd have been like, yo, bro, I'm at the beach right now. You're invading my privacy. I don't even wasn't even thinking about this conversation. You just took 25 minutes of my life. I'm on, who knows what my time is like, what my family structure is like. I might be watching my little one at the water. You just rolled up on me and distracted me. Nah, bro, don't do that. Like, if you're a practitioner, you're just starting out and you're passionate and you want to help as many people as possible, trust me, don't do it that way.
Right.
Listen to what people have to say, their feedback, their comfort zone. Yeah. Listening is one of the biggest tools, and ask questions that have to do with them, learning more about them. Where are they really going? Where are they really from? What have they really came through? You know what I mean? Where are they going in life? What is their passion? What is their mission? Right. Where's that pain point for them, that not just being healthier, more fit, or more mobile, or having less pain will help them achieve? But overall, what is it that's holding them back that you may be able to assist in during your program design, and recognizing after listening so much that that is the key part of helping. That's going to allow a person to build rapport, stay with you. You're going to find out so much more about old injuries that happened in their teenage years when they were in the back of a truck because they didn't wear seatbelts back then, and all sorts of things that you wouldn't hear if you're so busy trying to tell them what you think is best for them that you don't get to discover it. So I think that's a very valuable point. Is there any final gems, wisdom pieces that you would like to share with our audience for this podcast?
Yeah, absolutely. Just understand that we are servants and that we are here to bring value to the people that we put our hands on. And that, it like even when someone comes in the room, the very first thing is I say, how can I be of service to you? And how can I help you today? Those are the very first words I say out of my mouth when someone comes and see to me. And they say, well, I have this shoulder pain. I can't do, abduction. I can't do abduction. It only goes up this far. And I can do extension and flexion on my arm. And I say, okay, well, you just ask, be a good question asker, and just see it there. And by listening to what they say, focus on that and just say, okay, would you like another session with me to see how I can help and be of service, and so we can get some more mobility out of that shoulder? And if they say yes, fine. You say no, I'm like, okay, I'm here for you. Let me know when you like to see me again. Turn it into, oh man, you know what? You need to come see me for 6 more sessions. This is my rate. It's on and popping. You can't be that guy. And just real quick, I would like to share a personal experience that I did have. I should have brought it up at the beginning of the show. I remember when I first started.
Perfect. This is for the people who stayed to the end, man. They get the gems. The people who stay to the end get the gems. Yeah.
Yeah. I remember when I first started, I had a 6-week treatment plan put together. I had soap notes. I had everything laid out. And in my mind, I'm like, everybody's going to want to do this. No, that is not the case, right? And I remember I had one gal in particular, and I said, okay, we have a 6-week, she had a frozen shoulder. All right. So she had adhesive capsulitis, frozen shoulder. And I said, okay, we're going to go on a 6-week plan. Every time you see me, you're going to see me. We're going to do at least a half hour, 45 minutes on that shoulder. All right. I'm going to take notes, and when I work on you, I'm giving you certain exercises that you need to do during the week. When I see you the following week, you saw me every Saturday. So when you see me the following Saturday, I'm going to ask you if you do those exercises, and we're going to keep focusing on releasing that shoulder. Right. So the second week came through. Hey, all right. Did you do those exercises? No, I didn't. Why didn't you do those exercises? I told you to do those exercises. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. Take the notes. Okay. Client did not receive the exercises. And then her shoulder will go back. So her job that she did, she was a waitress at one of the casinos. So she would be dragging like the big carts, doing everything with that arm. I would say, long story short, about the 3rd or 4th session, she goes, you know what? Why can't you just fix me? Just focus on that. I don't want to do all that other stuff. And for me, I took it personal. I felt like she took the freaking wind out of my sails. And then, going back to what I said, I went to, I had a chiropractor that I was really close to at the time. And I asked him about it, and he goes, Ron, sometimes you got to listen. And I don't know if this is the most gracious advice that he gave me. Sometimes you got to listen, and sometimes you just got to, when you listen, you just got to take the money. And I was like, but by him saying that, a real light bulb just went off in my head. I was like, what? And then when he told me those two things, it was like, okay, I just need to focus on listening and what the client's need is. And if they're not going to follow through with the exercises and things I give them, that has nothing to do with me. I showed up as a practitioner and gave them value in the things they need to help with themselves.
Yes.
So,
And that's really another great point to leave off with, right? Like, again, my mindset of the practitioner is I'm going to set you up with every chance to win. You can do these on your off days. It'll take you 25 minutes out of your full day. I know you got time to do it. It's going to help advance you faster, so that when you come here, we can move further. And then they come and they're like, I didn't see any difference. Why didn't you see any difference? Did you do anything I told you? No, not really. Then how am I here to serve you if you're not going to do what I tell you? As a fitness professional, as a mobility coach, it happens, right? It happens to the best people. Think about the mindset people who dump hundred thousands of dollars to listen to Tony Robbins speak and then they don't follow up.
mm,
And it's like, when is the money part of it is a pain part of it too, right? Sometimes people aren't spending enough. Sometimes you're not charging enough because they're not spending enough for it to be important enough for them to say, this guy gives me shit to do. I'm going to do it because I've
absolutely.
invested time and money to getting this better. And I believe that this guy has the path for me. He can lay the path out for me in a way. So, I mean, he's not wrong. It is kind of cold. I got to be honest. It's kind of cold the way it was said. I was like, oh, I choked on my spit a little bit. I was like, oh, damn. This is like cold blooded. But he's not wrong, right? And sometimes you're not even charging enough for really getting that out there. And again, it's that's a touchy subject because I feel like I want to put her first, the lady with the frozen shoulder, but I also know that I give her assignments that can help improve what she needs to improve on. And
Absolutely.
she's telling me her shoulders hurt and I'm listening. So I can only do but so much, right? And you have to be okay with, like you said at the end, her not doing the movements isn't a representative of you or your program or anything. Her not doing the movements is a representation of her discipline and getting better and how fast and how she prioritizes it. And maybe she will or they will once, like we said, either the money's enough or the pain is enough or the circumstances enough that they want it to change.
Right. I absolutely agree. Absolutely agree. So, but yeah, I mean, have you had your personal experiences as well?
Yeah, I've had a few personal experiences, man. I mean, you know, I could say it like this to categorize it because I probably could pull 4 or 5 different personal experiences out where it was, boxing coaching with hip replacement clients and wanting to make sure that they were stable and strong, but they just wanted to will and having to find a way to get them to get what they want without me having to do so many different corrective exercises to make sure their hip mobility was there because I was more concerned about their posture and hip mobility, and they were concerned about endurance and being able to box. They didn't care as much as I did, right? Because I'm looking at the overall picture. They're looking at being able to be in the ring for 3 minutes. Ultimately, I could say this. There's times where I have a whole workout written out. We're going to do upper body today. I have the chest workouts written out. We're going to push and pull the hell out of weight. We're just going to push and pull and push and pull. And my client comes to me and says, my carpal tunnel's acting up. My wrist is bothering me. My shoulder's clicking. I don't know why. My elbow has some tendonitis. Maybe it's golfer's elbow. And the whole workout needs to be thrown out. Do I complain and cry about it? No. I modify it. I change it up. I'm very comfortable with doing that in my life. And I think that's because I want to listen to what they said. I know that these workouts that I'm putting ultimately is a calorical. I'm trying to create a caloric deficit if that's their goal of losing weight, or I'm trying to help them maintain their weight if that's their goal of losing weight. And so when it comes to the physical movement, when someone comes to me and their knees hurting them or their hip is hurting them, or they're exhausted and didn't sleep, I'm not going to then tell them, especially if we're working remotely, to like get under a bench press or do some strength training. I'm going to change the workout to fit their need that day,
Absolutely.
even if it's something that's not on my clipboard, because I'm listening. I'm asking them every time I see my clients. The first thing I say is, any aches and pains? What's hurting or bothering you today? That's the most important question for me because it will either change the workout completely for me, which is okay. It is what it is. Or it would allow me to progress into the movement, keeping us focused on our goal. Or it'll make me have to say, you know what? even if he could do these things or she could do these things, maybe they're really saying, I want to do something for my cardio. I want to do something for my core because of how they're expressing. There might not be an ache and pain, but there might be a love handle issue. There might be a stress level, a cortisol issue. There might be a hormonal issue. There might be a menopause day or whatever the case may be that we're not recognizing if we don't have the right tools and ask the right questions. And then if it is a wrench, which every workout can be a wrench, just don't freak out. Know your stuff. Know how to modify and progress at a whim, because that's what they're paying you to do. They're not paying you to make them sweat. They could step outside in California and sweat without any help. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, they're paying for you to get mobile. They're paying for you to have the education and the professionalism so that they can say, my left shoulder is bothering me today. I can't do that. And you could say, oh, no worries. You don't have to. We could still work your shoulder in 7 different ways. That's not going to impinge it. That's not going to turn it into pain. That's not going to cause an issue. Or let's ignore your shoulder. Let's work around the muscles around your shoulder, like your rhomboids, your mid traps, you know what I mean? Just change it and start to build strength around it because you know what their issue is. You start to learn how to modify and progress. That only comes with listening, not putting your workout and your clipboard first, being like, oh, your wrist hurts you? All right, well, we're just going to do 10 instead of 12 push-ups today. No, you could change that whole thing. You can modify that whole thing, but you have to have certainty in yourself. That's where you're building your confidence in your craft. You know what you can do. And you have to trust that when you get that feedback from your client, and it may not be exactly what you've written down or you've typed up or whatever that manifesto is, that's your manifesto for their workout for the day, and that has to be modified and changed, it's okay. You have the tools in your tool belt to do that. Your clients will appreciate you so much more if they needed a stretch mobility session versus a beat down workout. And
Right.
They're going to see more value in you. Your rates can go up. It's all good. So that's kind of my personal experiences in times of having to deal with something. And instead of putting my goals or my aspirations or my workout in front of their issue, I stepped back, I listened, and I put them first.
That's awesome. I would like to end with what kind of I heard. I listened to a lot of motivational stuff in the morning. And one of the things that really caught my attention was focus on consistency, not the intensity.
Yes.
So
that's beautiful. That is beautiful. And that is a beautiful way to wrap this wonderful podcast. Episode 2 of Mobility Bros. Yeah, we here, baby. Congratulations again on that amazing D1 job you captured. I'm so happy for you, man. Congratulations and super more success.
Thank you. It's just another way I could bring value to high-level athletes, and it's going to be amazing. I was just saying to a good friend of mine that opportunities are always coming. You give value out to the world, it always comes back.
All right, brother, close us out.
All right, man. I want you to stay awesome, keep stepping your greatness, and be legendary. Let's go.
See you at the next one, man. Thank you, guys. Peace.